we're now live.
Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Okay, this is the November 21st, 2024 agenda for the Webster Planning Board. And the first thing we're going to do is take attendance. We'll go around.
John Joy.
Adam Walker.
Craig Fournier.
Susan Youngs?
Teresa Fenimore.
And Russell Tatro.
Okay, so we have a quorum here tonight. So
You can step up.
we're missing Marlo
And,
And Dean
and
Lamprin.
what's his name?
I'm
Dana.
sorry,
And Dean Lamprin.
Dean.
no,
right.
but also
Dean.
the guy who's,
And Rob Owens.
Rob.
yeah, name just wouldn't.
Just came in. Oh, Barbara's
There
here.
she is.
Howdy. All right, we just opened the meeting here. We have a quorum, so we're gonna start. The first item of business is a public hearing on some zoning amendments and impact the ordinance and the driveway regulation changes. Russell, can I ask you to read the changes for us?
I
And
can.
maybe I'll talk a little bit about the context.
One second while I get to the right page. So in the driveway regulations, the changes were removing the line. In a case of a driveway intersection on a state road, issuance of state driveway permit shall be regarded as compliance with a Webster requirement for the design of the driveway and street intersection. And I believe the purpose of this change is to make sure it's clear that the town and the state permit is required in the town of Webster. And that had been leading to some confusion, so we're taking that out. And for the impact fee ordinance, we are adding the line, provided that, or new development should not include the replacement of an existing mobile home or the reconstruction of a structure that has been destroyed by fire or natural disaster, where there is no change to the size, density, or type of use, and where there is no net increase in demand on public capital facilities of the town of Webster. And they are adding the lines, provided that such reconstruction happens within 3 years of the structure's destruction. The planning board may extend the 3-year time frame if there are extenuating circumstances. And this is basically to cover it so that we can't have somebody coming back after 10 years and the lot's been vacant and say that it burned down 10 years ago. And now they're rebuilding a different house and don't need to be charged an impact fee because there was a house on it at one point in history.
So, the public hearing is slightly different than our regular meetings because it has an opening and a closing. And the main purpose of a public hearing is to take input from the public, right? And we're gonna do that by first asking those in favor of the changes.
You mean on the board, those in
No,
favor?
no, this is public.
Okay,
public.
all right.
We don't, as a board, we don't have to respond. I mean, we can, but we don't have to,
Okay.
okay? It's mainly for public input. And so we're gonna ask those in favor to speak, and then those opposed, and then anybody else who wishes to speak on this. So, is there anybody in favor of these that wishes to
Are we
speak?
doing them both at once, or?
No. Those in favor.
I know, but of both of the changes, because there's driveway regulation
Right.
and impact fee, are we doing both?
Yeah, sure, let's
Okay.
take them both. Nobody's in favor. All right, anybody against?
Well, not against, but changes in what you have in there.
Okay,
I think the impact fee was for the people who already had their house prior to the, prior to the impact fee being brought in. So, you live in a house, you didn't pay an impact fee because you lived there before the town initiated it. So, you don't need to pay an impact fee if it burns, because you're the owner of it at that time. So, I'm thinking to put in here should be provided that the reconstruction happens within 3 years of the structure, of the person who owned it at the time of the fire, or demolition, or not just, I mean, because that's, and, there's something else.
So, I think I understand where you're going. If I owned the place and it burnt down and I rebuilt within 3 years, there's no impact fee. But if you came along and bought the house,
Correct, yeah,
then you would be charged an impact fee.
because, yeah, because either the house would be gone, be torn down, it would be considered vacant land at that point,
Yeah, I would
Or-
go along with that.
you know, the person who owned it at that time.
I have a question. How much, this first time I didn't realize the impact fee was there. What is the impact fee?
$5,306, that's the amount, and basically the impact fee is assessed to any new construction in town, and it's to offset the cost to increase services. So a portion of it goes to the fire department, the school, the police department, and the town.
So the only argument I have on this right now is, if the house is rebuilt on the same, my house was a fire. It had to be rebuilt on the same foundation, okay? Nothing changed. It was all same square footage and everything else, basically. Even if somebody else came in and bought it, there really is no impact to replace it in that first 3 years. What would the impact be? Where it would require the
It
fee?
could be if the people who bought it had like 6 children, that's gonna add to the school system.
The way the ordinance,
Yeah.
So your house didn't burn totally down, so there was still a structure standing and you just rebuilt the inside, so,
Well, basically, they took everything down to the foundation.
okay.
So it was, I had to use the existing footprint, the existing foundation, and come back up.
Yeah.
So at that point there, you still have the same rooms or amount of rooms or whatever, same square footage.
let me clarify, the way it's written right now is what you're saying, is if somebody else came and bought it and rebuilt the same structure, no impact fee would be assessed.
Okay.
That's how it's written right now. If we wanted to go the other way that Nancy's suggesting, we would have to go back, rewrite it, and then come back with a different rendition, hold a second public hearing. So right now, it's written the way that you say it should work, not the way Nancy's saying it should work.
Okay, I'm in favor of leaving it the way it is now.
You mean the way it's in the,
The way it's
The way
written
the
now,
new
the way
way-
I'm saying it. Because there shouldn't, if you've got X and you replace with X, there should be no impact for, as long as they do it within 3 years. After that, you still have to worry about the foundation and other things changing too. And then they're gonna have to have a whole new plan anyways. And I could see the impact fee at that point.
Yeah. And that was basically what the board had considered.
And it also says, no change in size, density, or type of use. Nowhere does it say same footprint, same layout, same foundation. That should be put in there also, so it's upfront and personal, everybody knows it when they read it.
I believe that was in the original.
I mean, that is.
Well, it says
No.
size, right?
yeah,
Same
It
size.
just says size,
Same
And you can
size
change your
and
layout if
density
you
and type
wanted
of
to move a
use.
wall.
Or-
not according to the judge.
I believe it did, the judge did confirm that the town was correct when we said it was on a different footprint and a different size, and that
Right.
was how they
Right, but
interpreted
it's
it.
not,
And that was in our ordinance, and that is what the board decided at the time.
right, but it's not written, so it'd be nice to be clarified for everybody.
Yeah, if they don't understand it's the same footprint,
But
if
it
it's not
doesn't-
clear, then that should be put in there.
Yeah, it says size, density, and type of use. So size, you can have, 1,000 square feet, or you can have 1,000 square feet, but it's two different designs, two different layouts.
The interior layout, I don't think makes a difference, as long as it's on the same foundation, because it doesn't change the impact.
Any other comment? Does the board have any comments? I mean, we can talk about this or not.
I think probably like the square footage is the same, but I mean, like, if you wanted to change a layout, that should be able to do that.
Yeah,
Square footage is same,
right.
the, guess that, that's not gonna change.
I do like the idea of the foundation, use the same foundation.
Which is the
If
same
it's
footprint.
safe to do so,
Right,
if it's bad, then you still have to.
You still have to
Yeah, but it
As long as they still had a
same.
24x30 foundation, if they took that out, put that back, you're good.
Exactly.
Exactly, and that's the, I think the
Yes, sir.
intent of this whole thing is to allow people to replace the structure that got
No.
destroyed.
What do you, about the change of hands, like say, like I had a fire and then all of a sudden I'm not gonna fix it, sell it. Maybe I've cleaned everything up, okay, no foundation or anything.
Well, you got-
I think that's what you were talking, kinda,
Right, you don't know where the foundation is, nobody measured it beforehand.
to a degree, you'd
But then
know
it's
where
new.
it was, but, I mean, but if the piece of land changes hands and then all of a sudden the size changes,
Yeah,
then you got a problem.
yeah,
But then it's not a replacement, it's a new.
Right, because I
Right.
didn't
Right,
own
that would
it,
be new at that point.
but I didn't own it when it burned.
Right, I get that.
Yeah.
So if somebody buys a burnt house and they tear it down,
Yeah, that's a different,
I think they need to pay the impact fee.
So I see what you're saying. So I think if you basically are gonna take it to the ground, pull your foundation up and everything else, and say, okay, this is where it was, I'm gonna put a new one in, and different, if they're not on the same foundation footprint. So this is what happened with my house, because my house when it burned, because of the way it was built and everything, nothing was level, nothing was, got 6 foot, 7 inch ceilings inside. And I came and I wanted to take it all the way down, but they said if I took it down to the foundation and wanted to rebuild on a different footprint, that I needed to have a whole new application, building permit. But as long as I stay with the footprint and the
this
foundation,
one,
I could rebuild on the existing footprint.
Right.
So that's, and so
And
if
you
it,
didn't pay an impact fee because
No.
you owned it.
right, even say I had sold it and somebody else came in, if they didn't change that footprint, kept the footprint there, there's no impact.
Yeah, it
So-
is, because it's a different, I think
Just a
the
different
impact-
person, but there's
Right,
no
but the
impact.
impact fee is meant for the person who owned it when it burnt, they have the insurance on it. I'm assuming this is what it's been for the original owners, not for, the guy down the street that's gonna buy you a burnt house, tear it down, build it back up where it was, and has 10 kids. You know.
Well, so, so if you've got a 2-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house or whatever, so let me ask you this, if a family changes, if somebody sells it and they got 1 kid, I have 1 kid, and all of a sudden somebody comes in buying three kids, they buy the house, do they have to pay an impact fee of any
No.
sort?
Nope,
No,
Okay, so if you have that scenario on the rebuild, if you're 1,000 square foot house, and you're gonna try and stuff 12 kids in it, you're gonna try and stuff 12 kids in it. But it doesn't, the impact wouldn't be any different if the house had never burned and I'd sold it. From 1 kid to 12 kids, they wouldn't pay that impact fee.
okay. So you take your house down, there's nothing on the land, it's now vacant land and it's not a house
That's a
lot.
different story. But if the house goes all the way down and there's nothing, everything's gone, and you don't have that footprint, you have to put a new footprint in, they told me I needed to apply for a new, Permit.
Yeah, building permit, yeah.
and there you're at an impact fee, aren't you?
well, yeah, here's the way I read that, is the tax records identify your house and size, right? They may not have the exact location. I mean, you probably know where that house was, but the size is recorded.
Right.
All right, so it has to be the same size, density, and type of use. In other words, if it's a home, it can't be changed into a nursing home or
An apartment.
apartment or anything else. It has to be the home. So, and if it's done within 3 years of the burn or whatever the incident is,
For the original owner or
Then-
whoever buys it?
Doesn't
It doesn't
matter.
matter.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Replacement
It
is the key word, replacement versus new structure.
Yeah, I just figured it would be for the owner and not the person they sell it to. I mean, because they could sell it 3 times and the house is still standing and, whoop.
Yeah, yeah, but
The arguments I would throw in there too is when you're looking at it both ways. If you're looking at it for people, say somebody, you got a young couple that are struggling, they finally got their first place where they might be able to get a loan and build something. Do you wanna throw the extra cost on them when there's really no impact change? So that's
We
part of what I
can't-
look
we
at
can't-
too.
well, in terms of regulations, there's no way we can write that into, you know.
No, and I do understand that, so
So
my
it
argument
has
needs a
to
little bit
be-
for that too.
The size footprint, the time period, the density, the use. That's it.
Yes.
Takes all the discretion out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just figured, it should be clear that it should be the same footprint, which is not stated here.
Yeah,
It says
it's not
size.
quite, but size
You
sort
know.
of takes care of that too.
Well, not everybody knows, I mean, you can have the same size, it doesn't mean
Well,
it's the
just
same
ask
footprint.
Russ, he'll tell you.
Well, I didn't know Russ at that point.
All right, are there any more comments, or can we leave this?
I'm done.
I'm done.
Done?
All right, is there any more comments from the board? Do we want to discuss this any further?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing, officially close the public hearing now. And, unless there's any motion or anything, I think we'll let this stand.
Yeah, we're gonna need a motion at some point to move it forward to the warrant, and then everybody take a vote on whether they approve or.
All right,
Okay, do you ask about the driveway regulations? Are we gonna?
do you want to comment on that?
Well, I was just thinking, you took that out, which means that somebody has to put the skirt in
Yeah.
no matter what road you're on in town.
Yes.
So, my question is, driveways that are paved is considered a feature on your, tax card? And you're charged, for that?
No,
Okay,
No.
I thought a drop part, I tried.
that is, I would have to double check, but I bet that's so small, that's not even considered.
The skirt wouldn't be enough.
The skirt's
Yeah, no,
not-
that's what I was asking, is if the driveway is
If
considered
the
a
whole driveway
feature,
was paved, that might go on
it's
the
a
car
feature, right.
as a feature, but I've never seen one as a driveway, a paved driveway as a feature on a property card. I don't think they even factor that.
Well, I was just, if that is so, then the skirt should not be taxed because
Yeah,
it's
I
required.
have never seen a driveway
No.
being put on as a feature on a property card, and I look at a lot of them. It's usually structures, predominantly structures.
Yeah,
All right, I just wanna make sure that the skirt was not
No.
no. it's
considered a feature and not taxed.
Any other comments on the driveway? All right, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the changes as delineated
You'd
here.
have to do them as two separate, because we need one for the driveway and then one
Okay.
for the,
Let's start with the first one, the driveway. I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the driveway, which are,
Are stated in the,
yeah, but I'll let me read it, just so everybody's on the same page here.
and those would be live as soon as you make that motion and it passes.
All right, we're gonna delete the section that's sort of ambiguous and indicate that any driveway on a state road needs a state permit as well as a Webster driveway permit.
So, I brought this up to Russell because we're chasing our behind with the driveways. So the way I wanna see it, the town does not issue any driveway permit to anybody on the state highway until Russell has the state highway permit in his hand, and then stage 2 will be the construction of the driveway from the town of Webster. That's how it needs to be worded. Because what we're doing now is we're going out there and giving the people construction, the right to do construction on a state highway, and we're already in a cluster. And it shouldn't, state, the homeowner comes with the state permit, and then we go out and issue ours. That's the way it needs to be. Because there's too much running around, it's a waste of my time.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, and the thing of it is, if the state turns them down,
Right,
now we're in,
yeah.
you know, you got people starting to do stuff that if you can't get a driveway permit, then, I mean, we can't, that's how
No.
that would.
no, you're absolutely right.
No, it's the way it needs to be. I mean, I took over from Adam Mock 18 years ago the end of last month. And that's the biggest, between mud season and driveways. Because I could take you guys right now and show you 10 illegal driveways, and 2 of them happened last week. And Young's Paving's coming back out, supposed to be out tomorrow, and 2 of them's getting cut off 10 feet back.
I guess the question here is, if we change the wording on this, then we have to have another public
We
hearing.
would.
So,
We should have another, we
public,
should
have
get it
another
right.
public
hearing.
Let's do it right and
So-
not,
You're saying that the state says, okay, you can do your driveway, and then you go to the town's gonna tell you how they want the driveway.
Well, they'll have to
We
follow the
regulate
driveway.
Right.
2 different parts of the driveway, so the state really doesn't care about the apron or the interior of the driveway. And
Right.
the only reason the town really cares about the interior is that we wanna make sure if it's longer than a certain amount of feet, that it has the bump out for fire safety.
around, right.
And we also wanna make sure that the incline isn't too, or the grade isn't too crazy, so to make sure that our apparatus can get in and out of it.
Well, I can see that, but it's like the state says, okay, you can do a driveway, now you have to go to the town, and they're gonna tell you this is what you need to do, which would include the skirt.
Correct.
well,
have
according to our road agent, you get the town, you get the state permit, and then you build.
No,
No,
no.
you get the state permit,
and then you go.
they come and give it to Russell, they have the proof that they've done the state part of the driveway permit.
Right.
And then we issue them a construction permit to get started, and then we go out and do the final at the end,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's,
Table it for now?
You have
Well,
to,
yeah,
you have to make
let's,
sure they're wide enough too.
yeah, everything should follow the Webster
just gives you-
Yeah.
driveway
This
permits.
is where you
I
can
mean,
put it, this is
maybe,
the width.
you know, maybe you can't make them put the apron next to the road, but if they're 300, 400, 500 feet off the state road,
line of sight
now
the
you've
state
got the
does.
fire trucks.
Okay.
You guys, you know, we're gonna have to have that so
300
it
feet.
meets,
On a state
So
road.
we can get in
Fire.
there and turn around.
yeah, right.
you know.
All right, so let's
Line of sight when you pull out of a driveway.
Oh, all
Let's
right.
do a second reading on this, do a second
And second thought about the next meeting.
at the
Yeah.
next meeting. I mean,
Okay.
let's come up with a wording
Yeah.
We could do that now.
next meeting.
Oh, we,
Yeah, I'll go type something up, I'm gonna make a note of it, and
Yeah, I
then
think-
I'll send
I
out a
think Russ
draft,
is
and then you
fine.
guys can look at it and play with it.
So-
Sounds good.
Yeah, come up next meeting, and then, all right. So we're not gonna do anything with that, and,
impact fee.
the impact fee,
We're set with that, correct?
yeah, I think, I'd like to make a motion here, that we accept the wording for the impact, changes to the impact fee as delineated in this document, which, let me just read the changes so we're all on the same page here. Provided that such reconstruction happens within 3 years of the structure's destruction, the planning board may extend the 3-year timeframe if there is extenuating circumstances, which means that they would have to come before the planning board if they didn't build within 3 years.
And if we could go back to that driveway thing, I would really like to see if we have a driveway permit out and the property changes hands, the driveway permit doesn't go along with it, the new homeowner or the new property owner has to start over.
Yeah, reapply.
Well, if they, I mean, well, I'm just asking some questions here, because I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. I mean, how far back can you go? I mean,
Well, I think
Versus-
this is for driveways, you're talking,
Construction.
about ones that haven't been constructed yet. For example, like we had up on Battle Street up there, where we had the
No, I
one
don't mean one
owner.
that's been built. If somebody will come get a driveway permit, we have a lot of driveway permits out that no one's ever done anything with.
Right. For example, the Steels, they applied for it, extended it, forgot about it, then built it, and then we had that mess. But, and what if it had swapped hands and then somebody else came in and built it after it had been approved? Generally, when that happens, the new owner usually calls me and says what they need for a building permit. I'm like, well, we have this permit already. If you're gonna redo the same thing, you need to reapply for every permit, and you're gonna have to resubmit all the documents that the first person did. We can take the same plans and put it into the next packet, but you need to repay all the fees and do all that
Does
stuff.
that include the state permit too, or is that just the town permit?
Well, once you get a state permit, that's probably good for a long time, but
So if it changes hands, it's still active?
I don't know how
I
it
don't know
works.
state roads. That's,
That's what?
So you're
That's
looking
the
for like an
state.
expiration on it in it, so it's good for 3 years or something like that?
No,
Sorry.
3 years is too long, because some pieces of property have been sold 3 different times, and then the guy or the people or the construction people, oh, there's a driveway permit, but they don't pull it, they don't look at it, they don't stay 10 feet off the boundary, and then it just,
Snowballs.
yeah.
So, I have a question. I mean, when you get a driveway permit, do you need to have an engineer do all that stuff? I mean, is it all over? I don't-
Only
My driveway
if-
was already there, so I have no idea.
so only if, in certain circumstances, for example, if the grade is too steep, we tend to like to have that engineered. And I think that's pretty much the only reason, is if the grade is not where we want it to be.
So you could just apply, you don't have to have it all written.
No,
You
and
have
it
to
doesn't.
show it, you don't have to
So
have
this
it.
is,
have to have a minor
this is one of the biggest
A diagram.
annoyances with the driveway permits is, and for the paving and all this, is it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, I just-
So it really, other than time to come down to the town office and drop the permit,
And make up a
you just make up the
diagram.
permit, make up a diagram, say you're doing it, and the primary reason we do it is because we want to protect the road infrastructure and make sure the drainage is right, so that it doesn't create a problem for Emmett. At least I think I got that.
Yeah.
all right. So,
Back to the impact fee.
back to the impact fee. So I made a motion, didn't I?
Yeah,
You did, I'll second it.
And then we got
Yes.
distracted.
And Teresa seconded.
All right, all in favor of the changes for the impact fee, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that
We'll
passes.
redo the driveway.
We're gonna redo the driveway for next month. And I'm gonna officially close
And now we're
the public
closing.
hearing.
Can I just ask one question? What do you consider a vacant lot? When does it become a vacant lot? When nothing's on it anymore? Or nothing's on it for a year? Or,
What do you think's a vacant lot?
well, I know what a vacant lot is, but when do you consider that? I mean, it's like, okay, I tore down my house, it's now a vacant lot. Is
What?
it 6 months?
Why is that relevant? I mean,
Oh, I was just wondering, because it was a vacant, it's a vacant lot. They say it's a vacant lot and not a house lot when there was a house on it. So I was just asking.
Well, if you're asking me,
Yeah.
not the board.
Yeah, a vacant lot can have a house on it.
Oh, what?
Such, a vacant lot can have a house on it if it's not occupied.
Is that
No.
true?
I don't know about that
I
one,
don't
that
think
doesn't
so.
sound right.
Such
It
as
could-
the old Aloha house, before the town took over that property. Was that considered vacant?
Which one?
The old low, how the one next to mine,
Structure.
where the
If it's
sand
got a
is now.
structure, it would be,
Yeah, that's mine.
I mean, what if they're just out?
You're talking about the one on Dustin
With
Road.
no
out on the
structure.
neighborhood.
That was before Russell's time.
That was before my time.
Oh, I'm
You were
sorry.
gonna talk about like the Fisher House or something. No, I remember that because that's the one you tore down, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I did.
Yeah. That was right when I started.
I was just asking.
No idea.
That was my example of that. Yeah.
So I know a lot of it.
yeah, so
What do you think?
I'm vacant, because I mean, I got the old silver farm down there, and the rats don't live there anymore. That's been vacant for 10 years, but there's still a house and barn there. So it really technically is not a vacant lot, because I could move in the kitchen.
Might pay less tax.
When you
Oh,
write, when you
Jesus.
write, kick you out.
No such thing as less taxes there.
All right, so I would tend to agree with you if it's a vacant lot, because
Yeah, no,
Nothing on it.
nothing.
no structure on it. let's put it that way.
According to the state, a vacant lot is a piece of land in a city or town that is not being used or occupied.
So
It
now
does
structure.
have a structure.
Pretty broad.
So what
Doesn't say anything about structure on it, just says it's not being used or
Not
occupied.
occupied.
Well, I stand corrected.
I'd probably get tax rebate, I should.
Well, okay,
Next.
let's
That would
move
be a
on,
big one.
let's move on. All right. All right, the next is item number 5, Christopher Chesley, clarification on things.
So, the clarification, when I spoke with Russ and we set this up, I was looking at more or less putting a chain link fence up with the slot panels in it. And now, instead I'm going to take the, basically roofing panels, you know, they have the corrugated roofing panels, and stand them upright on end for an 8-foot high fence. So, where I'm building the fence, when you come into my property at the driveway, slightly, you basically can split the house and the shed. And from the end of the lean-to on the shed to the left, I'm gonna put up the fence with 3 gates, 2 that'll open up where I can put the trucks behind them, and the other one's just as access around to the back of the property. Is that sufficient?
I don't think we have any regulations on
That's on the
fences.
Clifford Center.
Well, you're the, as part of the site
No,
plan
that's on the
review,
122nd site.
you required a fence, but there was no specification on what the fence
What the
was.
fence was. right.
So that's kind of why I wanted him to come back and talk to you as a board, to give him clarification on what you want for fencing, to make sure that it's clear, so what he puts on meets what the board is expecting.
Well, my question would be, is it visible from the road, or is it visible from the neighbor?
The fence will be visible from both the road and the neighbors.
But the idea was to avoid lights shining
Right.
on the on the
Lights, I
neighbors.
think, and just, they want the equipment out back.
Yeah. I think it was
So they just can't read the signs on the trucks.
That was a stipulation from the zoning board.
Both.
Can we, as a board, or they as a board, so modify that and give them the instructions, or the zoning board?
What about-
Technically, the zoning board isn't supposed to make those stipulations, it's supposed to go to the site plan review and make those stipulations. The zoning board can suggest those stipulations to the planning board, but that's supposed to be a part of site plan review. The zoning board's just approving the variance or special exception, and you're the ones who make it conform with the zoning ordinance.
So the approval was on, from the other board, and now it's just, is the fence that I'm putting up going to be adequate for what the expectations are?
Is there any comments here from the board?
So you're gonna put up a chain link fence
Initially, I was thinking of the chain link
with the,
with the slats through
Yeah.
it. But there, if it's the stoplight, yes, there would be light. But I've also found that, I could probably get aesthetically a better look by putting up the
Corrugated.
the corrugated roof panels. If you're unfamiliar with those, you can go online and YouTube will show you all kinds of pictures and people putting those fences up.
was it just steel roofing you're gonna put up? or-
Yeah, so if you take the regular, what are they, about 3 feet wide
Yeah,
panels?
3 foot, yeah.
And you can run them horizontally, but I'll run them vertically. I want the lines up and down.
Yeah,
8 feet tall, and then you can, put trim along the top.
Yeah.
And the bottom if you want, but it'll all be one solid color. And down here at Sierra Lumber, they have, a company that's got a little bit heavier gauge, which is what I prefer.
Yeah.
But they have, a dozen different colors, everywhere from black to red
Yeah.
to like a barn red to a slate gray to a light green.
What color are you thinking?
I'm gonna go more in line with the, color of the existing shed there. The shed's like a weathered gray right now, so it'll be, either a slate gray, or there's a color that's like a color between the slate gray and a green, a light green. So it'll more or less flow in color with the existing building is
Yeah,
there.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
The reason I asked my first question, I mean, some of these things can kind of,
Yeah, well, I really like the color of the black, but the
Yeah.
black is not, when it gets faded and everything else, it's gonna look ugly, and it stands out like a sore thumb in the wintertime.
It should look.
yeah, so I think your gray
Yeah.
is a good idea.
It's pretty neutral.
Yeah.
It's better for noise as well, has a
That's
noise
true.
barrier as well.
It will be, yes.
I think it's a good idea.
What about lights?
Well, this would also stop lights from getting
Well,
through.
Well, I am
Yeah.
also on the posts themselves that I have for the gates, I did set up to where I can put a light on it. Okay, it can be set up with a sensor or whatever I want, or I could throw a switch on, but just a little area light.
Oh,
And so I'm not looking to put on the big high lumen lights and shine them across the street. But I want something where I'm backing up, I can see what I'm doing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and also it's something that's been brought to my attention when you look at the news and stuff. You hear about the gangs that are around that are breaking into houses, they were up in Gorham and other stuff, there's on WMUR. I've had my house broken into. And they parked on the side over there on Clough Sanborn and they walked through the woods and they stole a safe. This was back in 2007, I think. I actually know who did it, but they never got him. But there's a lot of people that park on that side. So I want power on that side and I will be putting cameras over there.
Have
So-
some eyes on
Yeah, but on that whole side, but it'll also be light also. Yeah,
I know a lot of complaints with trucks from neighbors is typically you have to warm up the diesel, you can't get in and take off.
right.
And having a solid fence would help, help with that noise.
Right, and unfortunately to a lot of people like my neighbors, I won't back out onto the driveway, out onto the road if I can help it. So everything I do is, you're gonna see me 99% of the time, I'm gonna back into my driveway. And that was what one of my neighbors had a complaint with, just because when I back in, my lights go into their house. So, but I do that, and I have one truck that even when you shut it off, the lights still stay on for 30 seconds. Yeah. So, but I won't back, everything will be backing in. Once I get, eventually, my goal is to go from one side of the property to the other with fences. And it'll just make everything better overall.
Any other comments? So I think we don't need a motion.
No, we're
Nope.
just clarifying, right?
It's just clarifying, and then I will send a letter out with the clarification of what the board decided, and that way we have it in writing, and everybody's sure what we're doing.
Okay, but we don't need a,
Yeah. I'm just gonna send the language, I'm gonna write it up, send it to you, make sure you think that sounds right, and then
all right,
I'll sign it and send it out.
all right.
Sea containers too high.
Yeah, we're good.
What's that?
I said sea containers too high.
Sea container?
40-foot containers.
Metal boxes.
Yeah.
That'd make you a nice fence.
Plus you'd have
Well,
storage.
in a way, I guess you could say it would. I just put one out back, you'll be taxing me on that this year.
No, they can't.
No, on the storage containers?
Movable structure.
Well, I get taxed on my semi-trailers.
Well, they'll tax it if it doesn't, from what I've talked to the assessors, if it doesn't move for a long period of time, and I mean years, they'll start taxing.
Oh, so all I have to do is move them.
You just gotta keep moving.
And they have to be
Okay, I'll
registered.
do that this spring.
Just keep moving
All right.
around.
I'm gonna put my chicken coop on wheels.
Let's move on. The next
Hey,
item,
people ask me questions, so I ask them and they tell me.
Registered also.
can register it in Maine for 20 years, so I'll just have to take a picture and send it to the town.
CIP is next.
Yes, next item is the CIP. Do you want to help us out here, Russ?
Well,
Well,
have a good night, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
and Ed had time to come here tonight and talk about what he wanted to put in for CIP. So I figured we can do whatever Emmett wants to talk about first, so we can get him out of here. And then we need to go down the list and kind of decide what we wanna put in each of the accounts or suggest for the accounts for 2025.
Do you have any copies of what you're working with for us?
I have.
You want one? I got a spare.
There's an extra one here.
I got an extra one. I got an extra
And
one.
there's the road thing too.
Yeah, and then I got your road list here. I made
Do you have a
copies.
second one, Russ?
I should have made 8 copies,
say
so
you
there
can-
should be
Is
extras.
this one?
Bless you, sir. And if I need to, I'll give Paul mine, but that'll make mine look a little harder.
But if you could help us out and go through this with us.
You want that
I'm
one?
not so good with numbers.
I'll just have to write everything on a piece of paper.
My extra grade. I
Oh, I remember stuff in the glasses.
I don't even have copies for everybody. Yeah, 8's the right amount.
Okay.
Wonder where I'm missing one.
You need a copy?
Well, the only thing I will need it for is when we go down the list, so I make sure I mark off how much you're suggesting for
I mean-
each one.
I could just pull it up on my phone and use that and give you
Yeah, that's
this.
fine, I just need it at the point when we're making the suggestions.
Take one back from the public meeting.
You guys don't need me here.
All right. Thank you for Nancy.
And everybody got a copy of the road list?
Yes.
I know some of these have happened. Okay. Yeah, it's all hard to see too. I usually try to get it on bigger font, bigger print.
So where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start?
Starting with the roads, so
Roads?
we'll let Emmett take it away when he wants to do.
Why, yeah, how much you wanna spend?
$50.
It's a little bit.
Where is your, list of roads that you already have together, Russell? What page is that on?
Oh, I printed that separate. You want it?
Well, that's what I was yeah, that's
Yep.
what I was,
I got it.
Is it in this packet, Russ?
no.
No, I printed it separate. There should be. Ah, bless you.
So Franklin Pierce, we did that this year, so you can check that off.
Off.
What's that, buddy?
Take it off.
Yep.
Roby Road.
Roby Road is good for the moment, other than at the very bottom, where it floods across, but, I mean, it's gonna flood across no matter what when that brook turns into a river, and, the way it is, we put them pipes in when I worked for Addie, updated that then, and the water goes over that road, and it really doesn't make much of a mess, so that, isn't a priority to me at the moment. I was asked to get a number together for Detour Road, because some folks think maybe that is the time to rebuild that road while the bridge is shut down. Detour to Clothespin Bridge.
I mean, are they doing any work, the state, on the end of that road that comes into the bridge there? Are they moving that at all into D's land, or is there any shifting?
I have not been involved in any of that.
So for
I-
the
That would be
easement,
interesting.
no, it's not moving very significantly, if at all.
It's
Well,
gonna,
if it
I'm
moves
gonna
at all,
call
they're
say
gonna
maybe
redo
a couple
section of that.
feet,
it's
but
gonna
not
move, it's gonna move from how I got it figured out. It's coming across the bridge from Battle Street. It's gonna move to the right towards that little garage.
Yeah,
But I
They're gonna
have no
straight-
idea.
Straighten it out a
it's
little
gonna
bit.
cut off
but
maybe a
it's
couple
not
feet off of
major.
the property with the little house on it and
The
kind
little
of,
white house with the green trim.
yeah,
So
straight
you're
down the
talking about
angle a little
Clothespin
bit.
Bridge, no?
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
Clothespin.
Well, cause Detour Road is the question, the road that we're doing, is that moving at all, how that comes into Clothespin? They're not doing any,
Well, if they
I
move, they'd have to add to it. If they move the other road to the right, they'd have to add to Detour Road.
so the reason why I'm saying that is because it's going along with what Emma just said, is people asked if we should look into it, because now's the time, and if they're gonna play around with it at all, then.
Well, they're gonna have to
Yeah.
do the abutments and come out some, but I mean, I don't know, I
That
can't
size of
imagine it's
road,
more than
no.
50 feet. Cause they're gonna rip that up, make the bridge wider, but
Yeah, but I tend to agree that, you know, when they're working on the bridge, that would be a good time to do
The
the
road,
road.
yeah. So when are they gonna do the bridge?
So.
That's a big question.
right, the
It
bridge is,
has gone out, we've selected, the bids have gone out, I think we've selected who we're going with. Wish Marla was here, cause she'd help me remember this.
you're
stuff.
going with Cold River out
Right.
of Walpole, New Hampshire, they were the lowest bidder.
So I think it's gonna slate it to be done next year, or start next year.
It's meaning in 2025.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, I think, winter construction, so it's gonna be over the course of next winter.
Next winter.
That isn't the plan.
I thought that was the plan.
That wasn't the plan. When we first started this project and we had a committee, were you on that committee?
No,
Bridge
not the
committee.
bridge, got from the historical
That it
society side,
wouldn't,
but.
it was gonna be done during the summer months and the bridge
Right.
wasn't gonna be shut down, but they say it's gonna be a 10-month project.
10 months.
10 months?
So what are they thinking? They're gonna start
What
it
do you
at
mean,
the
10
end of,
months? It's a big job.
Yeah.
are they gonna start it at the end of 2025 and then go into 26?
I asked them the other night at the select board meeting when, because I figured in the contract, it would have a starting date and an end date, and they didn't, that wasn't in that, it was, they had no idea yet when the start date was and the end date. That was a couple of weeks ago at the select board meeting.
I mean, one of the reasons well, there's several reasons we would want this thing quick as possible.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, school buses have to
Yeah.
go across that and fire equipment. You're gonna have to station something on the east side, right?
So the plan for now is just to take the long way around, right, Pearson Hill into Pleasant Street, and that's why Emmett cleared back a lot of stuff on Pleasant, the dirt road part.
Yeah.
And we're still gonna go out and look and see if there's anything else we need to do, just to get a second set of eyes and look around, but, we wanna make that right, cause that is gonna be the primary way into Pillsbury Lake.
Well, it isn't, well, it is and it isn't, because everybody is all nerved up about Pleasant Street, which I call the dump road.
Mhm.
But you have Bashan Hollow and Garish to get into Pillsbury Lake. You got Corn Hill out of Bosquen, that's a all new pavement on our end and on the Bosquen end. I mean, that's a freeway up through there. And then you can go out to the Red Barn and go
Whichever,
to the dump,
right.
the transfer station.
To the Four Corners.
It's like, it isn't the only way. And I know people don't like to be inconvenienced, but too bad.
Well, I would look at it for the emergency management side of things and emergency response, so if somebody's not breathing a couple minutes way out of the way, it does make a difference.
Can you get that
road's
truck
been
right
like
To make
that
sure we
for-
have access or even the continuity plans that, you know, maybe Bosquen on automatic for that, and I'm sure you're already thinking of this stuff, but Bosquen Fire may be on automatic for that time period of construction, so they get there quicker if we can't, or we're held up, or we're going all the way around.
Well, what are you talking? I mean, it's like,
I'm talking emergency apparatus that's stationed here. If they have to go down to Pillsbury Lake, the straight road right now is Clothespin Bridge Road.
yeah,
With that bridge out, now we have to go up Pearson Hill,
yeah, you're gonna add 4.
up and around,
We're
down
gonna add
Pleasant
4.
Street, down the dirt road part, and hopefully, you know, with all the traffic, that road's gonna get pretty beat up. You know, it's not meant for all that traffic. That
What do you
we're
mean
gonna
it's not
park.
meant for all that traffic? What's the matter with it? That's a gravel pit down
Right.
there. It's
And the
all
thing of it
solid.
So, but we're saying that that is just as adequate as a, I don't know, 3-bar paved road that we're using now, and it's not. It's a 2-bar dirt road with minimal ditching and some ledge and some stuff, so yes, it's passable. Yes, it's a good alternative. I'm just saying, as far as when we look at this, if we can do anything to make that better, we should be.
I'd say that he's already made it better at the end of it. What's left, you're not gonna do anything with, because you got a house that's right close to the road.
You got a telephone pole right
And-
there, and
Yeah, no, and I know there's certain parts you
And the-
can't. I know this.
And that piece that is
But-
left, that where you're talking, is ledge on one side, and then it drops off. You're not gonna go in there and start cutting the trees and filling, because the next thing you know, you're gonna be fishing cars down out of the
No, you
back.
wouldn't do that. You'd be digging into the ledge more and adding that way. You wouldn't be going.
If
on the
you
other
could.
side. If you could.
But
So
you-
anyway,
you're
it's
talking
not-
a lot
So-
of money that
so
you,
how many of you has walked down there with, in measured the road? Well, I have.
I've driven it many times. I haven't measured it.
Yeah. Well,
I use it for tractor trailers.
Has anybody ever just timed the difference from the fire station to Pillsbury Lake going the way you can go now?
Oh, you-
Or from the fire station going up Pleasant and back down?
It's gonna be a lot of, a little extra, but you're not gonna have any choice, because you're headed uphill.
Well, no, I think the
Right.
point,
I
your point
get
was
his
maybe
point.
maybe Boscawen is
Well,
also
yeah.
uncalled for.
That could
you're
help.
talking 5 more minutes.
That-
Well, that's what
talking-
I said, I didn't know how much the difference of
5
time
more
was.
minutes with
I was
somebody
just
trapped in a
curious.
fire, or 5 more minutes with somebody not breathing.
Well,
or-
Bosquen isn't
Well,
gonna get there any quicker than you are.
The
I
thing
mean,
of it is, you're still gonna have to go that way whatever, and as far as going down there and fixing that road, it's like, you got way more roads around town that need it worse than that for 10 months.
So, I would agree to disagree on some of that, because I think if we can make some small adjustments, Eddie, and I know you said a
It's-
tractor trailer, you've gone through it with that, but if
Yeah,
you're.
I've had
just
two
hear
of
me
them
out, hear me out.
passing.
That's with the traffic as current. Now you're gonna add to the traffic on those roads, because they're not gonna go through the bridge, they're gonna take Pleasant Street, so you have many more cars, you're gonna be going that way.
Can you pass a fire truck on Pleasant Street?
In some spots, no.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's
So,
all I'm saying.
You got a fire truck running through and runs right into a,
Well, they're not gonna run somebody off the road, but.
Who's
Well,
going
it
with?
just, I mean, you're talking, and then when you're all over and done with, it's like you fix something that you really don't need to fix.
All right,
That's
let's,
that's what I see.
let's,
I think it needs to be looked
let's
at.
table this a little
Yeah,
bit.
I
I don't think we're getting
disagree
very
on
far
that
here.
one.
Yeah, that's not,
What?
we're here to
I-
discuss.
We just have to decide what we need to
Well,
put into the CIP.
It's listed here as an issue, and it's medium to high, and I think it is adequate to discuss
What's
why it's.
medium to high? Pleasant Street?
Yeah, you
But
have,
that's not that part.
He's not talking
It's not
that
due
piece
to
of it.
Clothespin Bridge construction, so it's the whole stretch.
He's talking
I know he's talking
probably
to the
from,
paving from probably
Well,
Derby's
maybe
to the
somebody
corner,
did put
but-
that in there.
So I'm addressing what you have here in it.
Well, I don't believe I've ever seen this before, Rob.
That's all, and I know we're
Yeah.
just gonna look at it, and I'm not saying let's spend $1 million on this road, but if there's a couple spots we can widen or fix so that we can get more things passable, when it's gonna be 3 times as busy of a road as it ever is,
yeah.
it will be. We should at least be
I'll
concerned,
do
we should at least be looking, and we
Yeah.
should try to figure it out.
Yeah, what,
So, let me tell you, the first project we did, the first project we did on the dump road to get the site distance, which, I'm sorry, Pleasant Street, which I call the dump road,
I get you.
What?
came out of the bridge and culvert
320
fund.
miles. That's good, it's paved.
because it was the detour for that.
Sure.
So there's $700 and something thousand dollars.
It is like
Well,
an
the worst
overlay.
condition in the world.
How much money do you have in that bridge fund now?
Bridge fund, there is a sheet in there with all the fund
I think there's still a.
balances.
Bridges and
It's like
culverts?
600 and something thousand, 650 something.
Because we could go down and spend that on the dump road.
But is it possible to, with what you were describing about the ledge and the.
I just think there's some spots we
To make
couldn't
that
maybe-
wider at all.
Well, you
Yeah,
can,
got-
you can, but then you,
Huck's house
then
right
you
there.
got
Yeah,
stone
but-
walls, you
so
got.
there's
No,
gonna be
you're not
spots of-
talking right there.
What? No, I'm
And then
talking
you're
about
talking where that bank comes
I
in.
said, no,
on the dirt
Down
part
to
where it
that
has
bank,
a choke
you're
point.
opening up a
And you got some
can of
ledge on
worms
that
with
side.
roads
That's where-
without having.
But
That
that's
isn't-
Huck's
we'll get a copy
house
of
is
it.
right there.
Bridges, culverts.
And he's on, right on the end.
So you
People are
wouldn't
just
be able
gonna
to
have to
fix that.
slow down.
You're not
You
gonna.
can't, I
Well, it's
know,
already
but there's
370
spots you can't have
now,
to look at it.
But it's just,
600 and something.
you're gonna be 10 months, you're gonna
There should
deal
be a
with
whole
this, and
page
then
of
you could take that money
updated
that
as
you
of
spent
October. No,
there
that's what we put
somewhere
in.
and put it somewhere else, and then the next thing you know, you got cars doing 100 down through
I
there.
don't think you're gonna do 100.
Well, they're gonna do 100, I
My
guarantee you
fear
that.
right now, especially, we don't even know the timeline
There
of
should
this
be a page
bridge.
done by Dana.
As we go into
Yeah, there
the
it
soft
is.
shoulder spring issue, and that road is narrow as it is, and you're gonna have people stuck constantly. And if that's our only access, and we're coming with apparatus, and now we got something stuck in the roadway and different,
Well, I
There's
think that
potential
people
for
are smart
issues.
enough in town to know we're all,
This here?
excuse me, but if that's the only way down through there and it starts to get a little whatever, it will probably get some
I have
attention.
a question about
I've
the
got,
bridge.
I've got right now,
Okay.
I've got probably
What's the
2,000
timeframe
yards of
when we get
rock at the
started?
pit that's all
So how
being
long does
crushed
that
up in the
take?
next 2 weeks into inch and a half.
The start
And
depends
it's
on
all
whether
right
we can get
there
the
on
steel
site to take care of
materials.
that
We're
road.
hoping to start it
mean,
next year,
Oh, it's already.
Yeah.
at the
but
end
It's
of the
already in
year.
the plan.
And then they're hoping, I think,
To
to be
use
done.
that
he's talking about to maintain it if we need
10
to.
months sounds
To
about
have
right.
it if it gets
possibly
muddy in the
less.
spring, so the buses and the cars and the fire trucks
10
can
months,
go.
and then fall.
I didn't,
So one of the reasons they went with.
Look at it on the plus
winters, 'cause
side.
that's when we get
Oh,
the
gosh, I
best
gotta slow
contractors
down.
to do the job.
Well, the
'Cause
road is
nobody's
already
looking for
posted
work
at
in the summer.
25.
Yeah, I don't
We just
think
need
people-
more signs.
Yeah, I don't think people are going
But in the
crazy
winter-
there. I just think of the extra traffic.
Everybody's hungry for
And,
work.
the
People
soft
are
shoulder.
crazy
On
out
a mini
there.
vacation.
So-
I trust a lot of them are gonna go like Clothespin Bridge,
Are
you're
there
gonna go
many
down
seasonal
Deer Meadow
in
Road.
that area?
I mean,
I don't think so.
they're
Most
headed,
of
that,
those are
Pillsbury Lake goes that way,
Permanent.
Goes to Boston.
permanent.
yeah.
I'm
So,
talking more about us for.
But-
for
Some roads
Right.
are
Yeah,
better
but
because
if you got problems, I mean, people gonna get out of your way.
And even
there's
though
a couple
the road
places,
is
there's a
covered in
couple,
snow, we still have
there's a
to
couple
plow
of
it
places
as
down
fast
there
as
that
possible.
it's not gonna be
As
18
part of
feet
it,
of travel
so
lane,
that's one
where
of the
there's a
other
couple of
reasons the
trees
select
and
board
a
went
stone
with that is
wall and you just
We're
can't
getting
move. But
much more favorable
my
price
plan
than it
is,
would be if it would be in the middle of the
right
summer.
now, the road comes out and then on the left-hand side going down,
Well, it also
it's
makes the
quite a
watering
ditch.
easier. and-
Filling that right in with inch and a half stone right to the
And it
bank,
also has
that's
to
gonna
do
give
with
you another 4 feet.
endangered species.
So
and
if a car does have to get over there, it's not in the ditch and the
Well,
water
there's
will
more
still
issues
run
than
down
just the
through there.
school issue.
I
Like
got a
there's
plan.
wildlife reports and.
I mean,
I
I
still
could
don't
spend
see any-
$100,000 there in a
No.
couple of weeks.
Well,
It's
and,
not-
and we're not
That's
talking
not
about
what
making
it
more
is.
money out of something, and the bridge and culvert fund is there to help with the bridge and culvert
So
situation.
that we don't have to worry about that with the CIP, so let's get some money for the CIP for the other roads, and then we'll, if we need to do something on the dump road, we'll fall back onto the bridge and culvert fund.
I still think we gotta be proactive on that and not reactive. I know you have a good reactive plan with the stove, but I think
It
we
doesn't
should
say
just
600 and some
take a
thousand.
look, make sure we're good to go before the project starts.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Sorry, yeah, I didn't mean
No,
to
it's
interrupt with
okay.
that.
No, that's what's
And
been
I
withdrawn,
think,
is being
you're right, I think
withdrawn.
we should take a look at that.
I don't see
And
600
just see,
something.
maybe if you can put in, not
281.
but put in some
Is the balance.
wider spots where, you know, people.
Although it does say what was
I
withdrawn.
traveled
first
that road,
quarter,
I hauled gravel
341.
out of that road all summer long, in and out, in and out. I was in and out of there all today 10 times. I meet the bus.
Or we haven't funded it.
I've been
Bus
over
waits
with
for
a
me,
log
or I wait
So
for it.
there isn't an issue here.
The bus,
Am I mistaken?
Oh, I was thinking about the
I've met
emergency
the bus with
apparatus.
a log truck on that road,
I was
I
getting
didn't get any
confused.
crashes or
Emergency
anything like
apparatus.
that.
Where- pull over.
And I mean, I hauled
I was
just
thinking of the
over
wrong
that.
fund.
A lot.
All right, I'll
then,
keep my
no
mouth
problem.
shut. I'll
Well,
keep my
hey,
mouth shut.
I'm just telling you what I can foresee.
Well, my
I
question
usually
is,
plan for people to do dumb things, and it usually happens. That's
Yeah.
a very
You ain't got enough money in the town of Webster to fix that.
Well, no, I know, and you know that too, but if you can anticipate a couple of small things, we should.
All right, let's
the detour road,
Yeah, really.
let's
It's
table
right there.
You
We
gotta
gotta
give
get
it
some
low
aluminum
priority,
sheets,
is it really
got
low?
them sheets,
Let's
about
table
right
this
there.
question.
Want it?
Well,
You know?
Yeah, I think we table it, because we still gotta look at it or something.
now the bridge is gonna be out, maybe it's like, I've talked to a few people, maybe now is the time to do it. I put Detour Road the last few years on low priority, it's probably one of the worst roads in town. But there's 6 different ways around, 2 different ways around. Well, 6 if you go the other way, but yeah, there's 6 different ways around, so you don't have to travel Detour Road. And there's 3 homes on it.
yeah. I know.
So that's why that's on the low low list. But where it's been brought to my attention by some folks, maybe now's the time to do that. Why the road's gonna be closed, and then when the bridge opens up, it's all new. I don't care where I work, what road I work on, I just, well,
Well, my question would be, if you use the money in the Bridge and Culverts Reserve for maintaining Pleasant Street during the construction of Clothespin Bridge, then is there enough in the recommendations that the CIP committee
well, I have
would
no
make
idea what it is, I don't have any numbers
To
here.
include,
I don't know, I don't
Detour
even know
Road.
what we got last year, I don't know.
what would Detour Road cost?
Detour Road right now is gonna cost, Detour Road to Clothespin Bridge Road, it's 2,800 feet, I measured it with a wheel, that says 2950. I held the wheel out the side of the truck, I came up with 2,800 feet. Okay. The asphalt alone for that, to replace that, is $150,000.
Okay,
1 foot of gravel, 28 feet, 2,800 feet times 24 feet wide at 1 foot deep. That's 2,500 yards of gravel. It's $53,444.
53.5.
So that,
So we're looking at 200,000 to.
oh, you haven't started yet.
Oh,
You gotta
My
get the, you gotta get the
apologies.
road dug up, and you gotta get the gravel laid back out.
I mean,
You
the
got culverts
estimate-
to buy, you got culverts to change, and you got
There's
ledge to
culverts?
pound. Yeah, there's one culvert, and
There's, but
what's that?
I didn't know there was a culvert.
Oh, yeah,
Keep going.
and then-
there's already an estimate on here of 320,000.
Well, that's too much.
So what are you telling us?
300,000.
300?
In that, well, actually, the 320, if I rented the pounder, if I have to rent the pounder, that's just about, that's what it's gonna be.
That's what it's gonna
So
be?
keep it, 320.
So,
Keep it
let's,
at 320.
let's go high.
Well,
So the rule of thumb, back 10 years ago, you figure $100 a foot. So,
Okay, so if we were putting, would this be under road reconstruction?
that would be.
Okay, there's 200,000 going in and, or went in 2024, or is going in 2024? How do you read this?
So, that's not necessarily what the select board did, the select board changed it up.
Okay. And you're saying.
So that's what
another
you
100
recommended last year. And the select board put more money in the budget and less money in the trust funds.
Ah, I remember
It
that.
took, it came out to the same amount of money.
They put money in the general fund out of the road preservation money, not the construction.
Okay.
But into general, okay. So even if we're playing with 200,000, we're still 150 shy, 120 shy. No, 50, 70 shy of an estimate of $320,000 to be
$120,000, you need $320,000 to do
And
that.
that doesn't include anything else on this list this year.
No.
So,
So,
my one concern is this bridges and culvert, bridges and what?
Bridges and buildings.
We're gonna need that money on the bridge to, because when we get bills from the contractor, right, we have to pay those and then we get
Get
reimbursed. So
reimbursed.
it's a working,
Revolving fund.
working
Separate
fund.
revolving fund.
Revolving
So we're gonna need some money for that. So I'd hate to.
That's right.
I would hate to
fund.
take too much from that fund.
Yeah.
Because we're already concerned it might be too low depending on how big those bills come in.
Yeah.
so,
What about, it was $150,000 to pave it, what if we took it down to, you took it down to a dirt road? Graveled it over and we pave it another year?
Not going backwards, that whole hill,
yeah,
that whole hill will be at the
so
bottom.
messy.
Not a good idea.
It's got-
Okay,
it's too
had to
much
throw that
water.
out there.
That water goes down
Yeah.
through there like through a tin funnel.
Yeah. Okay.
so you got, we have 200 for the maintenance, is that what I'm clear on as far as the road preservation? There's 200, then
Does
there's,
anybody have any numbers from last year or anything to look at, or,
we just
Last
got,
year?
well, what they put in last year and,
You looking for balances? Is
we
that-
put 200 in last year in road preservation.
Yeah.
Highways and roads, 100, and nothing in the bridges and culverts. This year here, you got 200 again, 100 in the highway and roads, 75 for culverts.
That's 25.
Correct?
That's right.
what are you,
That's 25.
where are you seeing all that at?
That's what we're coming up with for budget, 25,
This page.
correct?
Well,
So, and then you have a general budget on top of that, correct?
Correct.
yeah.
So what's the general budget on top of that, all of that?
So,
What's his
we
budget?
don't know what the budget is.
What, my regular budget?
Yeah, yeah,
For the
what's
year?
your, yeah, what's your regular
General
budget?
fund budget.
Yeah.
What's your regular budget?
230,
230.
and then there's 70,000 block grant.
So you're at 300.
One more, I see it on the back side.
So your general budget's 300, correct?
Yep. Give or take, give or take, I'm just off the top of my head.
Yeah, so, and then you're gonna get another 375 here, is that correct?
Okay, thank you, Ross.
Yeah, 375.
All right, so why couldn't you take the road preservation money, the highways and roads, that's 200, 100, and a little, and 20,000 out of the culvert fund to finance that road, and it's done one shot.
Say that again, boss?
I'm saying take we got a 375,000, down again for 2025, right?
Right.
So take the 200 plus the 100 plus 20 out of the bridges and culverts. So instead of putting 75 in bridges and culverts, you're gonna be at 55. And put the 20 toward the special road project and the road preservation.
What do you do about road maintenance?
Huh?
What do you do about road
That's
maintenance?
paid
Getting
alone.
that over and above.
That's over and above, that's a whole
We're
different.
already set on the road maintenance. He's getting 300,000 road maintenance, his general budget.
Oh,
But you're proposing to burn down everything we're putting into reserves?
No, we're taking in, on the 2025, budget, you're putting in an extra 200 on
That
the road
into a
preservation.
reserve account, right?
No, this is what he's putting into the roads, right?
It's reserved, but its purpose was for these
For
projects.
these
It's
projects.
for that was my question.
Yeah, yeah.
So put it in, but take it back
Proposing
out for
that
the
everything we're
project.
putting into reserves will be spent next year.
Yeah, we spent it this year.
Okay, so
What do you mean reserve, Barbara?
this one, the 300,000 between road preservation and road reconstruction.
Wasn't that to
So
go next
what's
year or 5
in
years from now,
those
you're gonna pay for
reserves
that road?
right now?
You're gonna have to pay for it, one way or the other. And if they're gonna
So-
do it,
Next deal issue.
done, it's done, right? What do you think?
Yeah, sounds okay to me, seriously.
I mean, we're gonna be spending that
But at
money,
least then we know what we're doing next year.
what we're doing and what it's gonna be, and that piece
Versus
of road
not
will be
even
done
knowing.
from one end to
Yeah,
the other.
that detour, definitely.
So we're saying.
That's probably the worst road in town, honestly.
Yeah, that,
So we're lowering bridge and culverts
To
by 20,000
55,000, yeah.
55,
Yeah,
so that's 55.
and you're gonna take the special road projects and the maintenance
Bump it up
of
to
300. You're gonna use that 3 plus 20 out of bridges and culverts.
So
and-
we're bumping special road projects to 300?
No, no, no.
120.
You're,
Take it to
you're
20.
already at,
So it's gonna be
One-
120.
they all just,
Well,
So your total is 320, Russ.
the total is 320.
So it's gonna be maintenance, special projects to make 320 for the double
To cover the
combination.
detour road that in it.
then it's done, so.
So in other words, we're not gonna do any maintenance on any roads this year.
No, he's gonna do maintenance with his, out of his general budget, he just won't be doing tarring it
So one of the things that
somewhere else.
I have concerns about that is because if I remember correctly, the select board lowered what we recommended last year in maintenance by 100,000 to put 100,000 in the general budget.
Well, usually I get 200,000 for road preservation, and I get some years it's 150, and some years it's 200. Then when I did that long stretch section down there to Pleasant Street 2 years ago, they bumped it up some. So, I usually do $100,000 a year. It's what it costs to get caught up on a chip sealing. And then, which we don't have to do if we don't have the money, then you're gonna have to play catch up. And then my goal was for preservation from, on Deer Meadow Road, there's 3,000 feet, shim and overlay from Windsor Terrace to Bash and Hollow, where you can save it now. Couple of years you're not gonna. That's 70 grand. So, I mean, we don't have to do that to do the the detour road, but it's just gonna be put off another year, and then it's just gonna be more.
What do you think? What do you think we should, you tell us
So
what
what's the
you,
priority?
I guess-
what you really think we should
I
do
guess I gotta write
next
this
year.
down. The 200's coming from where?
The 200's coming out of your road preservation. that
Okay,
you get-
RP.
Yeah, and then you've got 100 coming out of the highway and roads, the special road projects. And then
Okay, so take the money out of,
the two that, you got 375,000 being allotted
So-
to you.
there should be, it's only showing 100,000.
Right?
Yeah, he talked about bumping that to 120,
Well-
and so you got the 320 between the two.
So if that's all, why, I guess what I don't understand is 100,000, I got more than 100,000 last year in road construction, which is, I call it road construction, you guys call it roads. That,
Preservation.
Or
right,
reconstruction?
reconstruction.
I'm getting lost with the titles on these.
Because that, me too, but I had more than 100,000 in that last year.
Well, according
I had to, because I
according to
call-
this, there's 205,000 in there, and the proposal is
Let's look at what
200,000
we
road
voted at town
reconstruction.
meeting.
Not in there now.
I couldn't tell you when it was last in there.
Road construction is, it got $5,000 in it.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So it's already
Road
burned down.
preservation got 100,000.
So I don't know, these numbers
And
aren't
highway
right.
and roads got 200,000.
I got $77,000 right now left in road preservation, which I'm crushing and banging and using some of that up so we can have stuff for next year. There's $5,000 in my road construction.
I'm just saying this is what we voted at town meeting.
Was how much last year?
Was 200 in road preservation, 100 in road construction.
Well, I must have had money left over from the year before then, because you can't do nothing with $100,000. You can do 1,000 feet of road.
These numbers are not
I thi- I-
current,
Which ones?
ones on this sheet?
Well, I'm just saying.
No, those aren't
that
current. You have
what-
the current
It
balances.
doesn't
further
matter
than
where
that.
it comes
Is the
from,
next sheet.
correct?
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't, the numbers are 375, any way you slice it, that's how, what we got down here, any.
So
you
if
can
we
mix
do
them up
detour
however you
road,
want.
then we won't do any
Nothing else,
chip sealing.
right,
Nothing else.
you'll just be doing detour road done over. 320, and you're gonna take out 55,000 out of, you'll only be getting 55,000 for your bridges and culverts instead of 75. Taking,
Well, that's nothing, the bridge and culvert stuff,
right?
yeah,
So is that all good or is it not? You tell me, I don't know what you wanna, what you think.
well,
You're
no,
gonna-
it's
you're
good to
gonna-
get that done, but then
I know,
But what
you're,
happens to Lake Road, which is supposed to be a high priority?
Lake Road.
you can't do everything,
You can't.
I know, but why is detour road so important when only 3 houses are on it?
because they're gonna have the bridge
Yeah.
out.
They can do the work right there.
That's true.
And it would be
And
faster.
it's-
Problem being that the bridge may not be done next year.
So we kick the.
They keep pushing us
detour
out
down
with the
another
bridge.
year?
Then Plan B, then you have a Plan B.
Yeah, Plan
Which
B,
would
she's
be
got
Lake-
it right there.
Be Lake Road, yeah,
So Plan B would be Detour Road the following year, Lake Road
yes,
this coming year.
just a suggestion.
Well, I don't care about Lake Road. I was gonna do Lake Road 18 years ago, and then they put a petition up that they didn't want it done because the cars were gonna go too fast. The only reason I care about doing Lake Road is every time I go across it now with the wing down,
Yeah, yeah.
the wing digs in, breaks the bolt off, and goes underneath the thing and costs me money.
That makes sense.
The road's junk, and I'll tell you right now,
Yeah, it says it's difficult to plow because it's in such bad shape.
well, detour's just as bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And detours.
And that Lake Road's $180,000.
I think that's what you guys are looking at was a priority.
What's the time frame for doing detour?
Exactly.
So at least this is a
Link-
And
priority.
contingency.
From start to finish.
Priority.
What's the time frame for doing detour?
What I'm hearing is that detour.
Couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Priority over Lake Road.
What?
If the bridge is.
For redoing detour road.
Money-wise, is money to work down there the way I have it budgeted out, is to work down there no
But if
more than
it-
15
If
days.
they're not
15
doing
days.
the bridge project,
So if
then
we're not gonna
it's
do the
not an ideal
bridge,
time to do detour
If
road.
we keep getting pushed out on the
Because it's gonna
bridge,
be
Should be
closed.
why not
During the
put
bridge.
half the money in this year and half the money in next year?
90%.
So what are you gonna do, take some of the 300, the 200 that's set aside, plus you got 375, that's what we got lined up, you're gonna take half of that in, for next year?
I agree.
Is that what you wanna do? So instead of 200, he's only gonna get 100.
I just assume put
No, you gotta
Although it's got a lot
you gotta
more
be
houses on it
consistent.
than
You gotta have the
detour.
same amount every year. The price of everything
Well,
is going
yes.
sky high. So the higher stuff
What I'm saying
goes,
is they don't
the
have-
less footage you get done.
But you also have to look at.
Doesn't matter if
detour
it's
roads
me
when
or
they have
anybody
a lot of
else.
traffic when the
Shit
bridge
costs
is
money.
open.
No, I
Should we
thought
do
you
a
were
point
closing
of
it
order
when
and
the
regroup?
bridge
When
is
the
out.
bridge is closed, you put one half.
Well, we're having a little discussion here about
Yeah,
what's the priority, Lake Road or Detour
Detour.
Road? And,
Detour Road though, when the bridge is out, won't it have a whole lot more traffic?
It'll be closed.
It's gonna be closed, because they can't access it from the bridge road, the road.
Residents will come down it, but there's only the 3 houses.
I'm looking at Little Hill Road here, and that's the highest ticket on the menu, 420.
It definitely is, but you got a new development goes in there, and no need to even touching it till
Right,
that's
right,
over.
with all that traffic, they'll just.
So let them old dump trucks just pound up and down and
Well,
Who knows when
See
that's gonna
just
happen,
what
they
it's
haven't
like.
even,
I would expect to see this subdivision early next year.
so we are kicking Little Hill Road down the road.
Well, Little Hill Road, this summer, I went up there and I got the culverts all changed. Culverts are all new.
and he laid a little,
And then down
Down
over
the
that hill where it was all bouncy and when the folks came down about the bicycles and motorcycles, and I, laid some tar shim in there to take, it's not perfect, it's far from perfect, but it.
but it's much better.
It did take the edge off, didn't it?
Yep.
So,
livable.
I'm with Addie on the Little Hill project. I mean, we can get in and out of there, the plows aren't digging in.
Can you push it off for 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's gonna take them 2 years to get all that stuff built up there, because I went over the Little Hill project again today. The tar alone is $186,337. And then from the corner to the end is still in pretty good shape from when Addie did that back in the day. We put gravel on that before they tarred it. But from Marty Bender's to the corner at Chucky's,
To Dublin
to the
Lane,
top of, yeah, Dublin, to the top of the hill, that needs some gravel in through there to be brought up in through that wet spot and stuff, so I did bring that project down. You said it was 400 and something
Says
thousand.
420 on this.
I've got that now at 300,000, so I brought that down $120,000 because top of that hill, all it's gonna be actually just ground, regraded and repaved.
So it sounds like
Can-
you're, yeah.
Can we go back and just have a quick discussion? We were having, what's the priority, or, I mean, people's opinion of Detour Road versus Lake Road?
I think Teresa made a good point. If the bridge, the Clothespin Bridge project doesn't actually get going, then we push off Detour Road until they're actually closing it for the road project.
Yeah.
Then that would be the time to do it. If they don't do that this year, in '25, then we do Lake Road.
Well, actually, it would be easier to do Detour Road. Just hear me out.
Uh-huh.
Actually, it would be easier to do the Detour Road a year before the bridge was out, because what's gonna happen is, when you're working on Detour Road, all that gravel and all the wasted stuff and the reclaim and everything that we regrind goes back down on the dump road, so that then you're
For
fighting that
access.
You've got a
traffic.
loop to do your construction.
Well, you can't make a loop.
No, but you will if it's open still.
Right,
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay, all right.
so, I mean, that's another way to look at it, because I'm
Yeah.
always thinking,
What do you wanna do?
I don't care what I do.
No, you tell us what you wanna do next summer, I wanna see you sweat. And I wanna know what you're gonna do next summer, I wanna know what you're gonna do. Just
Detour
like these
Lake and then
people
Little
want.
Hill.
We wanna know what you wanna
Well,
do.
and then you got, then you,
wanna go home.
road preservation, have you drove up?
It's almost
have
an
you
hour
Yeah,
and a
drove
Barbara,
half.
up-
stop distracting them.
Have you drove up, Winnapocket Road lately?
Oh, no.
Well, that's gonna be on the list here, shortly. That thing is,
Let's stick to
That's
this.
regret.
So what I'm hearing is,
It's not on this list.
people here wanna do Detour Road.
So, give me-
Regardless of whether the bridge is done or not. That's the priority. Am I hearing that right?
I
Detour, you
just-
mean?
If it makes sense to the road agent, yes, I support that.
Are you saying detour road?
Yes, Detroit
Oh,
Road.
gotcha, okay.
Because you either gotta do it now or later.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
You're
fix
gonna
it.
have to do it now or in 3 years, 4 years. So you got a new bridge, you got a new road, you can stay right out of that end of town.
Yeah.
But I really don't, I like the idea of doing the whole road at once instead of 1,500 feet
Right.
together like we've done in the past to make it work, but, just remember, the chip sealing,
You ain't getting any, right?
Right.
well,
Or
no, that's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not getting
that's what
any,
we're
but I'm
telling you.
just reminding you folks,
Yeah, no, we get that.
the chip sealing,
What's the dangers of not doing the chip sealing? Are we gonna
Well-
have more roads to reconstruct?
no, right now, we're pretty well caught up, but what I do is, the stuff that I pave, we let it sit for a year, and then the following year, which is the second
Well, she's
year,
done that.
is the right candidate for
Seal it.
sealing it. It will be okay, but the stuff like Detour Road, when we do that and that, then it's whatever's, but it's all, it just ain't enough money to go around.
Right, you don't have enough money, Bubba, to do
All right.
all of it.
So.
We're not
I-
Elon Musk here.
So I think the recommendation that we make to the selectmen is that we, and to you, is that we do Detour Road.
Followed by
Give you the
Lake Road,
320 and
followed
that.
by Little Hill.
Well, those are all we have to
No,
do.
I don't, you don't, if you don't, you just put that it needs to be done. Don't
Right.
put anything, don't promise
Don't put a
nobody
year on
nothing.
Because then they hold you to it when you
Yeah.
can't.
No, you don't promise nobody nothing, and then you don't have to make an excuse.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, let's say the detour road is next year, and it runs around the 320,000. Do we have enough? Is there enough money in here between the 230 that we're putting into the general fund, the 70,000, that's the block grant, and what is in, would this be it'd be road reconstruction, isn't it? And I don't have a. I don't have a
Well-
No,
balance
no,
on
it's
that.
general fund, we're not touching that, correct?
That's his normal
No,
maintenance.
that would be the
That's normal
select board.
maintenance, we're gonna take what we've appropriated here
Okay.
Special
for
projects.
what
Yeah,
would
just-
be
These
your
are-
Which
road
I call
preservations and
RP in, road preservation, in road construction. I know they have it in streets and highways, but I don't understand why.
These
Yeah,
are,
I'm getting
well,
lost
these
in
are,
the
these are
names on them.
capital projects, that's why it's called the CIP.
Yeah.
Capital projects that
I mean, we could
are
just say
outside of
just
the budget for,
320,
Normal
all of it
budget.
into road reconstruction, so then I make it do the project.
Yes.
'Cause
Do we
that's-
That's
have
what
enough
we're
money?
gonna-
That's my question.
we're putting
You
it
know,
for,
you-
that's what
you-
we're gonna
you-
use
you're
that money
running the
for.
same thing as you have for the last few years.
And that will do.
Right.
the detour.
Gonna happen.
I can't do anything.
That's not the answer you
I
want.
like the way you think, but I don't know if it's possible.
all right, so is there any more discussion on this, or can we move on?
So we are recommending the numbers that are in here, is that correct?
Well,
As
not
amended.
quite. Addie suggested there's one,
200, 120, 55.
yeah, so is it-
200 for the road preservations, 120 for highway and roads, and 55 for culvert.
But it's for detour
And
road,
all of that's
allocated
going
for
for
detour.
detour road.
Right,
So that all adds up to what?
320,
320.
375
Yeah.
any way you slice it.
no,
But you're only gonna get 320 for doing the road. And then you get 55 for your bridges and culverts. You follow me? We're taking those two, the special road project, the maintenance, road preservation.
Yep, 200.
You got 200 and 100.
Road construction's 100.
Yeah, I don't, is that special road projects, 100?
We could just
We're
make
bumping
that-
that to 120.
Yeah,
We're gonna take the bridges and culverts, instead of 75, we're putting 55.
And
yeah.
that other
And then
20 goes.
the
Taking the
road-
20 to put into road construction.
So you got, it's all there, just moving the numbers around, and that will go toward Detour Road. That's what that money is for, whether the selectmen like that or not.
Well, they have the final say
Huh?
anyway.
They have the final say.
They do?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna wait.
It's
You're
our
supposed to do all these
recommendation.
hash outs.
liver.
With chopped liver, he says.
We're good for a laugh.
As long as you got a little bit, I gotta go with that liver, it's all good.
All right,
Bacon.
does that handle the road stuff? We're good on the roads?
I know.
What do you mean now?
That's
The
all.
road?
right,
Yeah,
let's-
we're done.
let's
Right,
go.
you good, Emmett? You all happy with that?
Tickle pink.
All right.
I don't care, just as long as I know, because if I don't have any
That-
money here, then I'm gonna go somewhere else and work, that's
Because
all.
we gotta
that's
do the rest of the
simple as
funds
that.
too.
Plenty of work out there.
What do we gotta do?
Well, there's still the fire
I have
department,
some
how much are we gonna put in for,
Well,
because I know we have the next fire truck coming that Emmett's talking about, so what are we gonna do with the
I thought
emergency
we already
apparatus?
decided all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep that the same.
yeah.
I gotta make sure, I gotta go
Right.
through the list
Okay.
and make sure
I think so. I don't
that
know
we're
if you have
keeping
any
everything the
questions for Emmett,
same.
though.
Air packs always stays the same, mobile communication stays the same.
So, quick question on the airport.
Cruiser, I think, yeah, sure.
Your thought on that, because we bumped this up, remember a few years back, because we were behind, but I think we're gonna be ahead on it.
On what?
On the air packs.
20 grand, is it 20 grand, and
Yeah.
then they're
About
all, and then in how many years, 15 years?
15
they-
years, and we have 15 packs,
Yeah,
so 1,000 a year, per pack's 1,000, $900,000. No, sorry.
How much?
Oh, yeah,
10,000, I was
yeah,
off as
yeah,
10,000.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's big
Yeah.
numbers, Rob, come on now.
No, but even still, the 10 times 15 is 150, we're at 120 projected. I was just, wanna make sure we're right there, that's all.
but I don't know when the 10, I mean, it's, well,
Yeah.
what do we had them now, 5 years? I think so.
Yeah,
Sindel-
19.
Sindel got them.
Before
and She's
COVID.
been gone. Yeah. So anyways, while you guys are all here, you can scroll through that.
Oh, is that the
That's my new
tanker?
truck.
You get it?
Well, it's, you can make them bigger. I don't know, that's just, you'll have to,
Oh. That's a 1,500 gallon pump, or?
Yeah.
1,000?
What do you think, Paul?
I can go to the email and then they all come up.
3,000
It
gallons.
just seems like a shame to take in all the money we put into the roads and just let them go for another year and fall behind and then play catch up.
I
Seems
know,
like we've been doing it all along.
Yeah,
but it takes,
Oh, I
it's
like
a
that.
lot
That's
of
the
money.
norm.
it does.
Well, we can bring
Takes-
them,
It's getting, it's gonna be worse and worse down the road, but I think when you stop and really look at it, he's gained ground. When you get driving around,
We're gonna build the top.
you know, you got Plains Road is
I would agree.
It's a nice road, you got a lot of roads around now that are fixed up pretty good, that within a few more years, they're all gonna be
You wanna
there.
just-
And it just gets so you're gonna be, he'll be able to, you
so we
know,
got that
they're
one.
not gonna be road
All right.
construction
I say we
as
keep-
much.
Wait,
It will be
okay.
just,
Let's
maintenance.
let's let Russ here go through the numbers and we can get out of here.
Okay, where are you starting from, Russ?
Well, we're going over emergency apparatus. I was gonna talk about the police cruiser, I know they're not buying a police cruiser coming up soon, but we're gonna have the problem, I think we should keep funding it like normal, because we have two cruisers that are gonna be replaced at exactly the same time now.
Are you gonna fund that, the fire apparatus, like you raised it last year, or
Yeah.
you're lowering that? That next fire truck that you're gonna buy is gonna be $900,000.
I think they upped it to 112
So we have
last
to do
year.
112, yeah, that's staying the same.
That's staying
If
the same.
anything, it
Because I
should
know
even go
last
up,
year
but,
you,
yeah.
yeah,
That's why I was asking if we wanted to pick
So,
that up a little bit.
when is the next year we're replacing a fire apparatus? Is that in?
well.
Emmett gave me the number and I put it in.
Actually, the way it's set up, the 2004 E1 is 20 years old now,
Yeah.
and I rebuilt the pump in that 3 or 4 years ago. I'm gonna run that truck another 5 years, that's my goal.
Yeah, I put 2029 down as the
Right.
tentative
Add
replacement date.
to span the life out 5 more years of that truck, because it's as good as the new one.
Oh, yeah, no, if you get more out of it, you might as well.
Um,
But I guess the question I have for you, Emmett, is I see a total here of 852 at year 2029, which a new engine is probably close to $800,000, $900,000.
Right, and then right now, how much, you got how much, there's 600 in there now.
But we have to spend the.
But the
whatever
tanker,
current
yeah, we're
one
gonna
is
pull
out
out of
of the
that.
tanker.
Well, 500,000 by the time we're done, when I get it all.
So it really has about 150.
And then the ambulance from Tookie that we're buying for $50,000 will be available in June. 'Cause
So it's
they're new.
100,000.
The
we
new
should
ambulance
increase
is
that.
$440,000 and it's 2 years out. If you order one today, today's cost is $440,000. Rob will tell you the same.
Easily.
So I'm buying the used one from Tookie for $50,000 and the cot that's in the back's worth $40,000.
Yeah, that's that self-loader. So I guess my suggestion, Emmett, in bouncing it off of you, it's 112 now, it went up, but at year 2029, we're looking at a new pump. I think we're gonna be about $200,000 or $300,000 shy, according to numbers, rough numbers even.
Right.
And I don't know if we gotta get healthy overnight, but I think we should maybe increase it a little bit each year. And I don't know, thoughts?
You know, do the old heating up the pan with the frog in it slowly.
That's right.
Well,
Really don't know.
we're at 112, and I would recommend 125, and I know nobody wants to go up, including myself, on anything.
That's raising the taxes on the farm.
Yeah.
But it's going up another $12,000, which I think is what we did from last year.
You're looking for so many years out, what's the price increase by then, you know?
Well, it's only gonna go
20% more?
further, so we're at a deficit just projecting today's numbers.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
So at least if we start increasing somewhat, when we have to pull the plug, we're probably gonna have to make up the difference, but it won't be much.
Think we should.
It'll be bigger if we don't do anything.
Well, 125 is pretty meager.
I know it
It is,
has
I mean, we
nothing,
could go more, I'm just trying not to, I don't wanna
Blow
give this
something
heart
else.
attack.
Oh, it's only 13,000 more.
So are we going?
I would
with the-
recommend at a minimum,
I-
125.
I know it's nothing to the town of Webster, but the new ladder truck that Concord's putting together right now is $2.7 million, the new tower.
That's why I hope we never get a ladder truck, because they are just,
We don't need one.
no, I know.
I
I'm
got a
not saying we do.
60-foot man lift, I'll take
All right, we'll just-
volunteer with it.
Planning can just pass
No.
a thing that says we can't build over 3 stories high, then we'll never need a ladder truck.
No,
I
you can't
always-
now, 24-foot ladder, that's all they can build in the town.
That's what I
It's
tell them.
2 stories?
This is-
Yeah.
I tell them it's,
Works for me.
the
Yeah,
rule
don't
is you
worry.
can't go higher than the fire truck
Don't
can
worry,
reach.
by the time we get there, it will be burnt down to our level anyway.
All right, so it.
125.
125.
What do I need to?
You don't need to make a motion. If everybody
okay, we're
agrees
just
it's
agreeing.
125, it's 125.
We could go more, but.
No,
I
no,
think
we
that's a
don't, my
starting-
taxes, I got a tax bill too.
Let's,
You want to motion it?
Do we need
Well,
to? No, I think everybody's agreed.
I think we're in agreement, just
Yeah.
put in 125.
I'm gonna put in 125. Okay. Town hall is next. Oh wait, cruiser.
Taxes at this.
I was gonna say the cruiser.
I know they are,
I think we
too.
should keep funding it as is because eventually they're gonna have to buy 2 cruisers at the same time because both of them are the same year, make and model because of the car accident. It happened and it's gonna happen eventually. So we're skipping one this year, but eventually we're gonna have to buy 2, I think, in the same year.
So we're not.
I think I'm right with that.
There's not gonna be enough money in there, is what you're
That's
saying?
my one concern, but
What's
the
the
chief
price
didn't put in anything additional for cruiser fund. But I also, even though we're not buying one, I still think we should fund it.
I agree.
Yeah, at the end of.
Just wanna make sure it has something in it.
That's 5 years old.
Next.
Next, town hall improvements, the only new project was the kitchen project. And I put that in the sheets. And I said, Dana got the quote, it would be about 15,000. I said we could split that over 2 years, 7,500, or split it over 3 years, depends on how long you wanna put it out
No,
for.
3 years, 2 years.
2 years.
Russell,
So,
did you look and see if there's a grant for that by chance, where it's an emergency shelter? Or was there any?
I can go look that up, I did not,
Yeah, I think that's just an avenue, because this is emergency shelter building.
but there
This-
might be
I thought the
enough.
school was.
Well, the school and ours, there's actually 3 locations that we could use depending on what, and we try to use the fire department last, because we want emergency operations.
Well,
out
there's
there.
another opportunity right now too, but the select board might wanna put that money in something else. But the prison said they might be able to paint town hall for us for a steep discount, which means we might save money on painting town hall. But I don't know if they're gonna wanna put that towards replacing the clapboards with something that doesn't need to be painted. Not like vinyl, but artificial clapboards that, you know, they stay the same.
Are you talking about replacing with vinyl?
Like
No,
composite?
not vinyl siding. I think the select board was talking about, they have clapboards that look like wood, but they're not wood,
Oh, composite?
the composite
yeah.
ones.
That's a good idea.
That way we don't have to keep repainting it and still maintains the historical look.
They're not that cement board stuff, correct?
No,
Yeah.
Dave didn't want, he said that stuff was too heavy and damaged the
Oh,
building.
It's not
T-board
healthy.
you put on there.
What's that?
Like
Yeah, no,
T-board
I
you
get
put
it,
on
but
there.
I've seen the other stuff too,
Well,
that it's not,
Hardy boards are impregnated with a color,
yeah.
so they never,
They never-
even as they age, they're still the same color.
I just covered my deck with that, the deck posts, because the paint was peeling off, so I had a carpenter come in and put that composite on there. Looks slick. Love it.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right, let's
So we're
move
gonna
on.
up that by 7,500, the town hall improvement, and so with that, that's, everybody agrees. I'm looking at Addie, cause he's the one who's gonna shoot it down.
We gotta
I'm
get-
done though, we're done spending, all right?
well, actually,
don't
I wanna
know
hear
what
about
the
the
dumps-
transfer station before we're done.
Yeah, the
The
transfer
dump
station's the
numbers?
last one, and I know from the recent conversations, it's looking like the initial cleanup cost is gonna be something like $4.5 million, that Webster's gonna be on the hook for about 23-ish% of that.
So we're talking a
Of 4
million.
million.
Of 4 million,
You're gonna be a million plus.
which is why we're happy to have that little bit to start. when
They
the
didn't
bills
find
are-
any grants or?
The grant was basically nothing. They did. It wasn't a lot. It was like 40 or 50,000.
1%.
Yeah. Yeah, I said my piece. I think we should have taken them to court over it. I think you would have
I'm sorry,
taken them to court.
take who to court?
DES,
For what grounds?
changing the permit parameters.
I wonder if it's not a bad idea, but I'm wondering if
Well,
it's.
if we hadn't
if it's got
consulted a
legal
lawyer, I
standing.
mean, my opinion, if this is gonna cost 4.5 million and you can get that cleanup cost down to 3 million by taking them to court, you still end up on top. Even if the legal fees are like 25,000.
Can we
But
Correct
that's
me if
my
I'm wrong,
opinion.
wasn't it also the feds that changed the parts per million? It was only
I
DES?
think it was New Hampshire DES. I think it was
So
the new
if New Hampshire
PFAS rules.
DES did it, are they now lower than the federal standards?
I'm not sure. I would have to double check that. I would have to check with Neil, because Neil is the one who knows all that stuff.
I would think we would have to comply with federal standards, wouldn't you?
It depends on the benefit. It depends on the benefit.
And I think a lot of it comes from the last minute that we had a permit that was perfectly acceptable up until
For
all of-
decades.
for decades, and then all of a sudden, they pull the carpet out from us at the last minute and say
Yes,
we're
they did.
responsible for cleaning it up. And I feel like they've given us no leeway in it for the cleanup. And no, this is my opinion, this is just my opinion, that when you do that to somebody, it just puts a sour taste in your mouth. It's one thing if they're like, well, we changed the law, the knowledge has changed, we're gonna do all these things to assist you with cleaning it up. And here's what's available, this is the time frame we need to get it cleaned up in, and we're gonna help you versus, well, now you're in trouble for it, it's your fault, here's this giant bill that you have to cover.
Even
Did
though,
they give
yeah,
you
we
a
had
list
done
of
what we were
sites that they're
supposed to.
cleaning up in New Hampshire? Because this isn't the only one.
Yeah, we're the first, I think we're the first, and they're going after other people next, as soon as
So
their
if they
permits run
can
out.
kind of catch us off guard, they got the precedent for catching the rest of them off guard.
Yeah, I expect another town to at least go into a lawsuit eventually, it's gonna happen.
I'd be
Well-
interested what other towns have got up open septic lagoons.
Well, that's a discussion to
For a
have
different
Yeah.
day.
with the
Yeah.
selectmen.
So
That's
right
not-
now, I
that's
think
not in our-
117,000 is
so let's
sufficient.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
move on here.
We're getting towards 2 hours of meeting, which is,
Alright. What was
Is
left
it
on the
true?
agenda? I don't have one in front of me, that
Yes, you
was,
do.
that was,
Guess it'll have to be.
the new bridge out there.
yeah, there was a list of questions that they had submitted for the board to look at.
Oh, yeah, let me give a little background on it, maybe you've seen it.
Yeah.
The the company that's doing the environmental, well, let me back up.
Surveying.
The bridge out here over the Black River, they wanna do some work on it, or maybe even replace it, I don't know. what They're kind of doing, I saw them out there doing an inspection a couple weeks ago.
And they've been surveying, didn't they?
Yeah,
So anyway, the company that's doing the environmental stuff regarding that is interested in cultural things,
Historical, they've already
historical
contacted me.
things.
Invasive species.
Yeah, environmental stuff, species, does it impact town forest, for example? So, whatever concerns you may have, you can just contact this company directly, just talk with them. I mean, you don't need to go through our board, just call them up and talk with them.
I'm talking with Deb Coon.
Deb Cooney, yeah. But that's what that's all about.
Are they going to replace the bridge, or they haven't made a decision yet?
They haven't told us what the deal is.
they're gonna do them both at the same time.
Rehab or replacement
Take it anywhere.
of 127.
I think that's what the
So that would be
survey
nice if detour roads all paved, so because they'll detour them all around that way.
According to the letter, they're gonna replace the bridge with something that looks similar.
That would be
Says that
nice.
right in the first
Should put a
paragraph.
covered bridge in, it'll look good again.
Well, yeah.
We could've had one for $300,000 back, well, what year was that?
Yeah,
Yeah, 5, 6 years ago?
yeah, well.
They've been
more than-
done.
More than that.
Huh? It's been done.
Could've had that, Mike
was
B,
gonna throw one in.
would've had one, what was it, $300-something,000, it'd have been all done over there, no embankment,
Oh,
nothing, no, it would've sat right on the old, it would've been perfect.
No. Anyway, let's move on here.
Yeah.
So now we're at minutes. If you're done with
And
that.
I'd like to move to approve the minutes of the
Oh, no, you forgot my name.
October 27th meeting.
Planning board president, you don't have my name
But we
on
have to
there.
second first.
Well, we're amending it, right?
Don't
can't-
you do that as part of the discussion?
Well,
No?
no,
Okay.
you have to say whether you're gonna approve them as written or as amended. If we're approving
Okay.
them as amended, and I'm adding Addie's
You're
name,
gonna add it, you're gonna have to add it.
so then it's approved as
I wasn't
amended.
the invisible man that night.
Yeah, he approved everything.
That I did.
So you're making a motion to approve as amended?
Yes, I move that we approve the minutes as amended from our
You mentioned
October
on line 22.
17th. Yeah, his name is in there.
He's here,
In the meeting.
Oh, but I didn't
but
put
he's
them
not
up
up
here. Well, you're there, it says,
Huh?
Line 22, right?
I even voted.
you even voted. I just didn't put you in the planning board members present.
We have a
Not
second
that night.
I'll second the motion,
I saw
as amended.
as amended. All in favor, say
Aye.
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 And then since you all wanna get out of here, I'll
I make a
motion.
motion that we adjourn.
Aye.
I definitely second that one.
Everybody in favor
All
of
right.
adjourning?
That's
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, thank you.
Time
I
for
think
glass
we
of
got
wine.
through a lot.
Sorry about that.
It's inevitable.
Well, it's start talking about stuff.